G'day, bird nerds. Monday with me. Holly's away again because it's a public holiday in New South Wales where Holly is. So we think Holly's going to be back next week. If not next week, she'll be back the week after. So we can get some more urban bird talk going with some expertise, Dr. Holly Parsons from BirdLife. But today, I figured I would just run through a couple of plants which are really commonly available in most nurseries in Southeast Australia anyway, that are really conducive to the little brown birds that we all love to see, but that can be a bit timid, or they require a lot of protection because they're small. Distances that they cover in short trips are short. So we need plants that serve as refuge for them, as well as providing some feeding opportunities. So most of these are going to be refuge plants, and you'll understand why I have termed them that when you have a look at their foliage, pretty much. Let's have the first one. This is Hakia Erisopholia, or that's sometimes known as just the prickly wattle or the hedge wattle, or even the prickly Moses, or that's shared with another common acacia. This plant will form a fairly spreading plant, but metre and a half to maybe 2 meters wide at the absolute most, but generally they're a fairly small metre to a metre and a half plant. But look at that foliage, very spiky and prickly, which is why they're great. Also, the acacia flowers attract lots of little small insects, and of course that's good food for the plant, for the birds. And when they flower and have finished and set seed, well, then there's some opportunities for the parrots and the pigeons, and you'll often see ants carrying away acacia seeds. So I guess that means that there's going to be some feeding opportunity for birds that eat plants. I'll just welcome in. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitch. Any questions or comments, just pop them in and we'll deal with them as quick as we can. Okay, so that's Hakia Erisopholia. Now, another acacia that you will see in lots and lots of catalogues, and often in native plant nurseries, quite common to see. Acacia pulchella, prickly Moses, again, it's sometimes referred to as. Now you can see the flowers are held up from the stems, but you can see in the detail there the little spines. So again, another prickly one for to protect the birds if they're in amongst it. And this is the habit of the pulchella. So a metre at the most, metre and a half, generally about a knee high to hip high kind of plant, spreading. It's a low spreading shrub. Now, if you plant these fairly close together, that allows good protection for birds to get in and around, can traverse underneath, but can perhaps with fairy wrens and whatnot, can build their nests in amongst it too. So a really handy prickly plant, a barrier plant too, if you have got people, if you want to put them along paths to stop people taking shortcuts, they're a really great plant to plant in in the bendy section of a windy path. So Can't go wrong. Acacia pulchella. Another acacia. Acacia rigens. Now, rigens, rigid, stiff. Look at those needly leaves. They're actually phyllodes. Acacias don't have true leaves, but again, beautiful looking plant when it's flowering, but it's also quite a handsome plant when it's not in flower. Looks a little bit like a small pine tree, I guess. This will be a little bit taller, 1.5 meters, maybe even 2 meters if the situation is really, really good. Has an upright habit. It's the kind of plant that in a breeze will do the swaying and moving. Really nice looking plant. My friend Shadow barking out there at something, found something to annoy him. Again, you'll often see this in native plant nurseries. It's not really available. You won't probably see it in a place like Bunnings, but there's 3 acacias, but there's probably about 100 little acacias that are quite spiky that are terrific for refuge plants for small birds. And as you can see, they're quite decorative. And some of them, particularly this one, Erisopholia, and lots of others, are quite fragrant as well. So they attract insects, and they're just a really good plant to provide shelter for small birds. Okay, everybody loves a Grevillea, right? I do. I absolutely love Grevilleas. There's a couple here that are, again, I've gone for 3 for no particular reason, but really good spiky foliage. This one, Gravilia Triloba, has a spreading sort of horizontal habit. And again, birds can get underneath it as well as through it, but people, dogs, and cats will avoid it. So it's a terrific barrier plant, a great refuge plant, and slightly fragrant flowers, and insects are attracted to that as well. This next one, very spiky, open habit, spectacular flowers of this variety, Grevillea Tripartita. The leaves have a little point on the edge of each of those lobes, and they can be irritating for some people, but they are a deterrent for people moving through and for animals moving through. So again, planted in amongst other plants. It's going to draw in the nectar feeding birds, but provide refuge opportunity for the little brown birds. This next one is one that you probably will have seen it, often used in landscape plantings, can get really rampant, can spread to 6-7 meters, more often 3 to 4 meters, but in the right location will spread. It will grow to about knee height, perhaps hip height, will form a tangled mound and spreads. It's really dense. It's just a really dense cover. It's often used as a ground cover. I've seen it used with councils where they'll even put it on slightly sloping surfaces looking to stop erosion, and they can run the flail mower or a slasher over it. They're really, really hardy. A sweet scented flower. I was going to say bees, not really honeybees, but native bees be found in amongst it, and a great habitat plant for reptiles as well, because they can get under and hide easily, cool down on a hot day under these mats of lush foliage. So you'll often see this sold in the nursery trade as Grevillea bitonata, but its the correct name is Gravilia Triloba, and it's a really common ground cover plant. So I hope you find that one useful. And look, if you've got questions or comments, just pop them in. Who have we got? We've still got Facebook and Twitch with us, so great. All right, the next one, again, very familiar to people in the southeast of Australia. Hakia Ceresia. It's a very prickly plant. It has a white flower generally, but there is a pink flower form available. This plant can grow to 2 to 3 meters tall, spread out 3 to 4 meters wide. It's quite an open habit, beg your pardon. But again, super prickly. So if used in a mixed planting, offers a good place for little birds to hang out. The honeyeaters will get into this. So it's a good plant I wouldn't have it right next to a path because it can be irritating for people who brush against it. But they have the benefit of when they're not flowering, they have these fantastic seed cases. Now that's fully open, but the ones sort of in the background are yet to open. So they give you a point of interest for the whole year, really. Cockatoos sometimes will come down and munch on these. I've seen yellow-tailed black cockatoos feeding on them, but they're not a primary food source for them. But a beautiful, showy barrier plant, and I think they're flowering in late autumn and winter from memory. When I lived in Gippsland, there were the white form in the growing along the South Gippsland Highway, as well as the pink form. Now, Callistemons. Callistemons are usually red, but there are green and white varieties out there. This is one that's really good on swampy and sandy soil, as well as rich open loam. Callistemon pachyphilus. This is viridis, which means green, the green variety. There is also a yellow and red varieties. Just a really nice, dense thicket, can be pruned really hard. Just a nice hideaway kind of plant for the little birds. Honeyeaters love this. This is a West Australian native, but grows well on the eastern side of Australia. There's a pile of really good callistemons. Just look for any that are prickly. I couldn't source pictures of all the nice prickly ones, but we can always do this again, right? Another really common landscape plant that you'll see in the trade is Leptospermum Horizontalus. It's a cultivar, sometimes sold as Leptospermum juniperina horizontalis. But this plant is widely used as a low ground cover. And where it's different to most of the Leptospermums or tea trees, one, it's got a prickly leaves, which is why the birds love it, but it also grows horizontal rather than upright. So it spreads, but the when it puts out a new branch, a new shoot, it grows laterally rather than vertically. You can see in this picture that it's forming a few layers, and that's what they tend to do, which make them a great habitat plant for small birds that spend most of their time feeding at ground level or only a metre or two up. And again, fantastic for hiding out for lizards and whatnot. Leptospermums they produce a lot of nectar, but it's not generally, you won't generally see birds feeding on them, but you will see lots of insects taking advantage of the nectar on those plants. So this is one of my favorites. If you are if you've got narrow terraced beds, like going up a slope, this is a really good space filler. It will grow to maybe 2.5 meters wide. Loves to be pruned. Really judicious pruning is good on these, and does have a good seed capsule that all leptospermums have. And I've seen rosellas going to town on these, so a great habitat plant. Next is one that I was talking about in the last show I did with Janine Duffy, talking about koalas. And this is a really important habitat plant, Berseria spinosa. It's prickly, but it's got these nice glossy leaves, but it also has these little seeds that produce. And when it's in flower, and that's the flower, it is scented. And it's a really profuse flowering display. Terrific plant. Can grow to 3 to 4 meters in the right spot, generally 2 to 3 meters. Prickly, without looking very spiny. So it's a good barrier plant. Great insect attractor. Again, fantastic as the backbone of a mixed bed, of a large garden bed. So it's terrific to have in the middle or at the back of a mixed planting. Next, racing through those. What have I got here? Kunzia Erisopholia. You'll see this commonly out in the nursery trade. I picked this one rather than Kunzia baxteri, which is the one you'll often see on sale in all the nurseries with the big red bottle brush type flowers. This one just has little yellow flowers, and I can't believe I didn't upload the flowers. It was a bit slack off me racing to get it done, but they're a lot like the little Melaleuca honey myrtle flowers, just little pale yellow or white. And again, it's a stiff, rigid plant that grows laterally rather than vertically. So provides, again, those layers, little opportunities for birds to scurry away and hide. And it's another reason that I really like it. Really, really like it. The last one I'm going to show the pictures for is the Calamar and Gustafolia. Now this is really common in the plant trade. It's a rounded, as you can see, open shrub that's about 1.5 meters, topping out at that height. But the flowering display can be really beautiful. Both the buds, pink, open up to white flowers. Again, attracts insects. Insects love it. Just a good all-rounder to have there. So that, I can't believe I've raced through them so quickly. So that is the end of my list. I was expecting we might have some questions or comments. So that's what we're opened up for now. Anyone who has questions or comments, I'll drop the overlay off and we'll just we'll just chit chat. I did promise that I was going to talk about some of my favourite birds in my locality. So let me just get a few pictures up. Bear with me, all right? There. Just person on Twitch. Let's get the best images up and that I'm allowed to show on. Get those up. All right. There's a good picture. Gee, that's a good one. Yeah, let's get that one up. Yeah, let me share that tab. That would be good. This is one of the birds I see most mornings when I'm out and about on my walk. There we are. Let's put that on full screen. There we are. That's the red wattle bird. I wonder why it's called the red wattle bird. Any guesses on that? Good on you, Leo, for putting this up on. That apparently was taken at Pambula, southern New South Wales. Oh, you can see it's on a Grevillea. I'm guessing it's a Grevillea Robin Gordon or a Grevillea Superb. I can tell there by the foliage. But that's one of my favourite birds that that I see on my morning walk. Let me just get another one up. I always talk about the. Let's have a look at the little wattle bird. Comparatively, they're about 2/3 of the size of the red wattle bird. There we go. There's a nice picture. E-bird. Let's pop that one up. There we are. And I'll just get this one up as well. Thanks for watching too, by the way. But let's ask me some questions. It's always better when I get now there's a little wattle bird. And it looks like it might actually be sitting on a salvia. Terrific bird. Really common. I have them here, but they are dominated by the red wattle birds until there's a gang of the little wattle birds, and then they take over again. Okay, that's that one. Let me get something else up. We've done the reds. We've done the little. New Holland Honeyeater. Let's have a look at this one. I don't like the name of this bird, but which picture will we get? Oh, I do like that one. That one's a beard picture. Let's open image. There we are. Oh, eBird's great today. Thanks, eBird. There we are. New Holland Honeyeater. That's the other very common honeyeater around my place. I think they've actually got a second nesting going on, a second brood. I've already seen one lot of nestlings being fed around the place, and now I'm hearing a whole lot of new ones. So I reckon that's what's going on here. New Holland Honeyeater, or I like to call it the yellow-winged honeyeater because I don't like the colonial aspect of New Holland, but that's just me. That is just me. I'm going to stay on eBird. Let's do it on here, and I'll put in the other one, which is my regular morning companion, Australian Magpie. There we are. Most of these are the black-backed form. I get the white-backed form here. Look at those. You can see there they've got the white nape but the black back. So they're the black-backed form. They're generally north of the Great Dividing Range. There, these are all black-backed. That's a black-backed. That one's the female of the white-back, the one we have here. The male has an all white back. Bloody magnificent. Yeah. I was expecting to get lots of questions about plants today, so I'm a bit at a loss. What else do I get around here regularly? Oh yes, I get another honeyeater that is around often. These are the resident honeyeaters that I get. The white plumed honeyeater, they're around here all year. Most of the other honeyeaters move through. They come back in summertime. Yeah. It's nice to see you still with us there, Twitch. Love it if you ask me a question. I'll show. There's a pair of these around my place, the magpie lark or the mud lark, is often called. Extreme sexual dimorphism. Do you see that's the male in the picture there, but have a look how different the female is. There's the female. So she's got a stripe vertically through her eye and a white face. And here we've got a black face with a ear patch and an eyebrow for the male. Really interesting birds. These guys or these birds will be obsessed with mirrors. So in breeding season, it's a really good idea to remove reflective surfaces if you possibly can, because it drives them absolutely mad. The I get this bird hanging around in the park frequently in the summertime. I haven't seen them recently, so hopefully they're coming back soon, widespread over large portion of Australia. Let me just see, they haven't got a habit or anything in there? No, it's just for identification. Yeah, generally hanging around a bit higher up in the plant, in the trees, than the yellow winged honeyeater or New Holland honeyeater. Bit smaller as well. And most of the, I guess we get a lot of honeyeaters here, but not all at once. That's another one that is common around here. Again, generally comes through in summer. Often see the white-eared honeyeater creeping up trunks, eating insects. Just having a look if there's any other groovy shots of them. No, coming in to drink. No. So there we are. Well, Twitch, thanks for being with us. That was basically what I had expected to talk about. And if there's no questions, if no one's got any questions or any comments, I don't want to waste your time just hanging around here. So thanks for being with us. I hope you got something out of my plant presentation. I'm going to have to cut that up and do that again, I think, aren't I? And do a little video on each plant. That would probably be a good idea. At Bird Emergency on Twitter, if you want to follow me, or hit thebirdemergency.com /live to check out any of the live shows. Okay. Cheerio. Thanks, Twitch.